Top 5 Chinese rules. Number 1. Respect your parents, your elders, and your teachers. Never talk back or challenge them under any circumstances. Number 2. Education is the most important thing. It's more important than independence, the pursuit of happiness, and sex. Number 3. Pay back your parents when you start working. We were all born with a student loan debt to our Asian parents. Asian parents' retirement plans are their kids. Number 4. Always call your elders uncle or auntie, even if they're not related to you. Never call them by their first names. Number 5. Family first, money second, pursue your dreams. Never. Whenever I try to challenge my dad on his Chinese beliefs, he sternly put down the hammer. You never ever talk to your father like that. It's disrespectful to challenge your father. I never dream of doing that to my father. How could I argue with that logic? So instead of forcing my parents to accept their American mindset, I quietly rebelled. I obeyed my parents' rules inside of our Chinese household while I pursued my dreams in the American world outside. I promised my parents I'll finish my college degree in economics, but then I turned down a job in finance to pursue a career in stand-up comedy after I graduated. My dad thought I was crazy, but I figured it was better to disappoint my parents for a few years than to disappoint myself for the rest of my life. I had to disappoint them in order to pursue what I loved. That was the only way to have my Chinese turnip cake and eat an American apple pie too. When my parents found out I was frequenting comedy clubs, they prayed it was just a delusional phase I would grow out of. Bankers, doctors, and scientists are what make Asian parents proud. Being an artist in China is the peasant work of a lowly clown. Stand-up isn't even a thing in China. My parents still refer to stand-up comedy as talk show. My mom would ask me, "So, you are doing your talk show tonight?" "Sure, just like Jay Leno." Whatever. I stopped correcting her after a while. The closest form of stand-up in traditional Chinese culture is a two-man act called 相声, or crosstalk. It's a live stage act usually made up of a big buffoonish character and a straight man doing sketch comedy routines, often singing along to a rhythm. It's like Laura and Hardy meets Jay-Z in Mandarin. Pretty awesome. A few years ago, I finally mustered up the courage to invite my parents to my stand-up comedy show. It was at one of the nicest comedy clubs I'd ever performed in, Brad Garrett's Comedy Club inside the MGM in Las Vegas. When I was 10, my family and I stayed at the MGM on vacation from Hong Kong to Vegas. So surely, my parents would know this was a legitimate 5-star establishment. I sat them down at the best seat in the house and made sure all their food and drinks were taken care of. They were the VIPs, and I was the star that night. I had a killer set. Everyone in the audience was laughing head over heels. I finally proved to my parents that all the time I spent doing talk shows at comedy clubs wasn't in vain. After the show, my parents came out and saw the crowd of adoring fans surrounding me. They waited in line with everyone, and I made sure to take my time greeting each audience member so they could see just how loved I was in this stand-up world. When they finally reached the front of the line, my excited comedian friend Jack went up to my dad and asked him, "So, what do you think of your son? He was great, right?" "No, he's not funny," my dad flatly replied. "I don't understand." Jack's face dropped as he awkwardly looked over to me. But there were no tears in my eyes, not even a hint of surprise. Most people would have been devastated at their father's disapproval, but that was the exact answer I expected from my dad. I knew he wasn't going to understand stand-up, and I knew he was too honest to lie about how he felt. But I wasn't upset, because the joke was on him. I'd spend the better half of my set making fun of him. This was exactly how I got my material. This exchange with my dad at the MGM would eventually make it into my set. When my dad finally watched an episode of Silicon Valley, he said, "I don't think your stand-up is funny. but I think Silicon Valley is a very funny. You and your big white roommate are funny together. That's probably the nicest thing he'll ever say about my career. In a Chinese family, we never say I love you. That was his equivalent of a crying father hugging his son after winning the state championship football game.